All right, we're here. We're here. Man, this is a weird sight. The fact that it's literally just me. I am the loner, the Ronin, the man without anybody here with me. It's just I, which is the first time in this podcast's history. This is gonna be so different. Man. But you know what? Forget it. We are going to just go on with this episode anyways because it is about to be straight fire. You know what I'm saying? I know Demetrius, the Fallen Shinigami, he's out here completing his side missions and his side quests. And then I'm just over here ready to make sure that you guys still have the rightful and great content that you guys deserve. So, anyways, I'm Demetrius, the Rogue Jedi, the Jedi Ronin, and Meech presents the Blurred City podcast. So, today we're having a pretty special episode since it is my grand debut as the lone participant of said channel. As such, I have something very special for you all today. You could guess by the title that it's all about Star Wars and lightsabers. It's because, that's my pride and joy. But before I get into any of that, let me hit you with the legal spiegel. The purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas whatsoever. Your discretion is advised. And now that we have that out of the way, of course it's time for our favorite segment, What's Hot? As you know, this is a time where we go ahead and talk about what's new and hip out here in these streets. And since it's just me, I can't depend on my co-host to really gather up evidence over what I missed. So just take whatever I say as that, and I apologize in advance. So first things first, we have ourselves in the anime scene. You have Rise of Shield Hero Season 3 still going strong. You have Kingdoms of Ruin still going strong. It's just funny because of the fact that the actor who plays the main character in Kingdoms of Ruin is voiced by Naofumi's voice actor. So watching those two back to back really hits me every time, and it literally just took me this last time to figure that out. We also have Goat Piece still going strong. It's the end of Wano. The crew has officially left the station. And then Spy Family still being the wholesome family that we always know and love. Except for these past few episodes, because good heavens, Tokyo Revengers is going stupid. The Kanto incident is in full swing. And speaking of full swing and incidents, Jujutsu Kaisen with the Shibuya incident. Good heavens. I'm sorry to all the animators, but this is just pure heat. Now, to all the fans of a certain character, just know that this was ordained and there'll be riots in the streets later. Now, another bit of news in terms of the anime scene is the fact that the Blue Lock movie is scheduled to be released on April 19th of 2024. So set your calendars for that day, because just pure Black Air Force activity and locked in activity is coming in through there. And in also other news in terms of anime, apparently the world did not learn their lesson when it comes to live action anime, other than One Piece being the only one that's successful, because now they decided to dip their toes into Naruto. Yes, you heard that right. A live action Naruto series. I'm not here for it. I'm very skeptical. But then again, I was the same way with One Piece, but let's just hope Kishimoto, he has his hands in this project. And then also, don't forget, Dragon Ball Daima is still coming. So, Dragon Ball GT 2. Next off, let's go ahead into the comic sphere. The Spider-Man scene is absolutely insane right now because of the fact that 616 Peter Parker is apparently going to be put into a gang war. That's the next crossover event, and I am not here for it. Because I'm pretty sure they did a gang war in the past, and I'm pretty sure it's probably going to go a lot better. But at the same time, we have Ultimate Spider-Man with Jonathan Hickman, and that is going to be just straight heat. Heat, I say. You want to know why it's going to be heat? Because it's going to feature a married Peter Parker, who then becomes Spider-Man. that which has not been done before. And I'm surprised it took them this long, but I'm here for it. So, and then also the Superior Spider-Man's back in 616. He should really be replacing the 616 Peter, because Peter had not been acting right. So we need Otto to get him to bring our boy back into greatness again. Speaking of greatness, we have ourselves this new series called Carnage. Yes, the Carnage series is back, and Carnage is out here just doing the most. Cletus has found religion again, and he is the god. That's all I gotta say about that. Next up, we have ourselves the Milestone Media verse in DC. That's the only thing I'm pretty much reading out of their comics right now, which is kinda crazy. Static Shadows of Dakota should be finishing up very soon, and I'm looking forward to see what is next on their radar. Finally, KLC Press, my ultimate goats. I can't leave them out of this because we have ourselves the Schlub, amazing comic, and then also Kill Your Darlings, which is just as great of a comic. Go ahead and support my boys today. Now, going into TV, we have Invincible, which after you've seen that last episode, that mid-season finale, good lord, you guys are not ready for what's coming afterwards. Next up, we have ourselves the Chucky series, which is just always amazing. You have Monarch for our fellow Godzilla fans. And speaking of, in movies, Godzilla -1 releases this Thursday. So go see it, because I know Godzilla about to be fire. Me, Demetrius, and another friend, we're all going on Friday to go see it. So please do not spam spoilers in our feed. Thank you very much. And then finally, the Thanksgiving movie is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty solid flicks. And then finally, I need to update you all with something that pretty much happened with me in terms of the realm of Star Wars, that I participated in the HEB Thanksgiving Parade as part of the Star Wars Saber Guild Legion, along with the 501st and every single conglomerate. When I tell you that, if you wanted me to have a god complex, having me walk throughout the city, having hundreds, thousands of people cheering for you and just waving at you and wanting to like have you do tricks and do different things because they really love Star Wars, man, that really got me a bit. That's just straight empowering, almost to the point where it's getting to my head. But you know what? That's just me, and there's nobody here to stop me from going all the way deep into pure, unadulterated, unabashed insanity. But speaking of Star Wars, let's go ahead and take a moment to go ahead and congratulate the GOAT. Our GOAT, the second coming himself, Dave Filoni. He has finally ascended to CCO of Lucasfilm. What does that mean? Everything Star Wars related goes through him. He is the man at the top, and I can't think of a greater man other than George Lucas, him, Jon Favreau, and Sam Witwer. Oh yeah, and also Freddie Prinze Jr. They are the only people who I can trust with Star Wars nowadays, and to say that, to see one of them, specifically Dave Filoni at the very top, brings a tear to my eye. I'm not even gonna hold you. But yes, congratulations to the GOAT. I will definitely be ready for all your content throughout the rest of these episodes. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the main topic of today, shall we? The lightsaber, a more civilized weapon for a more civilized age. The lifeblood of the Jedi. It is the most iconic weapon in media history. Everyone knows it, from its iconic glow to its compact capabilities, destructive capabilities, and the signature sounds that are made, along with the spectacular fights that come throughout it. Today, you all, I am going to elaborate you all, teach you, learn you a thing or two about the colors of the lightsabers, as well as their origins, both in universe and particularly outside of the universe in some cases, and just display who wields these blades, and ask the question, which one of these apply to you, or what's your favorite lightsaber color? And I pretty much got this idea off of the picture that you're probably seeing on the screen if you're listening to this via YouTube, And just know that like a lot of these, there are many caveats to this, so I'm going to explain this right now. All right, so for a lot of these, right, the colors are many of them have explanations. Most of them don't, so I'm pretty much giving my interpretation as to what these colors represent. And then also, in terms of like who these will be for, I'm gonna give some people who have used this lightsaber color in the Disney canon and the expanded universe, also known as Legends. I'm just going to refer to it as Legends because that is easier to say rather than expanded universe. And also is probably going to be what I say. But if I end up saying EU at the same time, just know that I mean Legends as well. And then also, when I'm giving users for each of these, I'm going to mention people in both in Legends and in canon. So just be on the lookout for that. And then also, this is going to be a big caveat for one character in particular. Now, this character is known as Cal Kestis. He is the main character of the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor games. And one of the big things about him is the fact that he has a lightsaber and you can change the colors of it. And it can be many of the colors that I'm going to be talking about on this list. However, his canon color, as per the novels and other discussions and guides and whatnot, state that his canon color is blue. So, I'm going to let you know right now, when I mention characters, he goes under the blue category rather than anything else, any other color. And similar with Starkiller, his primary main saber, Galen Merrick, is red. And then he transitions to blue, with the clone also having red, but then transitioning into blue as well. So yes, that is the canon colors, as well as Revan, whose canon color is blue, purple, green, and red. He's used all four of those colors at least at some point, but I'll go ahead and talk about those as we get into that. Spoiler alerts. So, in any case, let's go ahead and start with the first colors that we see in Star Wars, the blue lightsaber. The first one we see is the iconic blue, and this lightsaber is mostly associated with the Jedi Knights, those who are very combat oriented, who rely more on the physical aspect of the Force and the physical aspects of lightsaber combat than anything else. And in regards to the users of the blue lightsaber, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker the Chosen One, Cal Kestis, Kanan Jarrus, and Ezra Bridger. Those are some of the users. And as I mentioned before, Galen Merrick when he turned to the light side, as well as the Starkiller clone, which also used blue as well. Now, as I mentioned, these are only some of the people. I am not going to mention every single person who wields a specific color, otherwise we're going to be here all century long. And going from there, we have ourselves the red lightsaber. Now, this is where the distinction between the two canons are going to have differences in explanation. This is, of course, the opposite of blue, and George Lucas obviously wanted to use blue and red to denote the, opposing sides of the Force, the opposing sides of the war, because that's easy for you to recognize. Blue is good, red is bad, unless you're the Power Rangers, where, you know what, that's getting off topic. But in any case, there is a difference in terms of what these represent and how you get those lightsabers. Of course, with the red sabers, they're always devoted to the Sith, to the evil factions, to the Dark Jedi, and all of that above. And how you get them is different. So in EU and Legends, right, the way you got a red crystal was because of the fact that the Jedi basically gatekept all of the main crystals, and the Sith, wanting to have lightsabers of their own, they decided to, they're going to synthetically grow their own lightsaber crystals. And because of that, the lab-grown crystals all end up being red in coloration. So that's how they got theirs. In canon, it's actually a lot cooler. So what they do is that they get a regular kyber crystal and they pour all of their negative feelings, all of the dark side, all of their emotions into the kyber crystal, because the kyber crystals are essentially like sentient through the force, so they're semi-alive, but they want to pour all their emotions and dark side into it to subjugate the kyber crystal and force it to its own bidding. But in doing so, the kyber crystal starts bleeding, and because of that, it turns red, and that's what gives it its red hue. So some users of it is every single Darth you can name, including Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, Darth Maul, Count Dooku. We got ourselves, Kylo Ren, he used it, Darth Revan, Darth Malak, Lord Vitiate, everybody. Every single person on the dark side used it. But ironically, Luke Skywalker used it in Legends to pair it with his green saber, because he used 2 at one point. But that's going into the green saber. So out of universe, right? The green saber was actually created because of the fact that originally in Return of the Jedi, Luke was supposed to still have his blue saber, or really his dad's blue saber, but George Lucas saw that in the background of Tatooine it was a blue sky, so he feared that the blue lightsaber wouldn't be able to show up in the background, so he changed it to green. And if you look at old trailers of Return of the Jedi, you can still see the blue lightsaber in the trailers, but of course not in the movie. Now, the green lightsaber typically represents those who are more force oriented, unlike the blue sabers. So they actually focus more on connecting themselves and having a strong connection with the force and using more force related abilities typically. And the most common users are, as I mentioned, Luke Skywalker, Qui-Gon Jinn, Master Yoda, Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren, and in Legends, Jason Solo, aka the original son of Han and Leia, who ends up going into inspire Ben, aka Kylo Ren. So yes, that is green. Purple out of universe is also quite interesting because of the fact that George Lucas got Samuel Jackson to appear for the prequel trilogy, right? And he wants his character Mace Windu to stand out from the crowd in episode 2 because they're going to have a large scale battle for the first battle of Geonosis, right? And because of the fact that purple is his favorite color, Samuel Jackson asks George Lucas, like, hey, can I have a purple lightsaber? And George Lucas said yes. So, hey, that goes to show that you don't get what you want unless you ask for it. So, take that with you in life. Now, in terms of what it means in story, typically a purple lightsaber denotes somebody who's trying to work in balance with the light and the dark side. Typically those who are a little bit more open to using the dark side, but also still trying to remain in the light as well. So they're trying to use both abilities at once. Now, as I mentioned, Mace Windu is the first person we see using a purple lightsaber, but that doesn't mean he's the last. We also have, as I mentioned earlier, Revan. And Revan's case is pretty interesting because of the fact that originally he wielded a blue saber throughout most of the Mandalorian wars and all of that, but at some point, if I recall correctly, it was after he turned to the dark side, his blue blade inexplicably, with no explanation, turned purple. So this is the only case where a saber crystal changed colors on its own. So that's pretty fascinating. But Revan primarily used a purple lightsaber. So did Darth Traya of the old in Legends, and so did Darth Bane in the old Legends trilogy as well. And then also we can't forget the twin sister of Jason Solo, Jaina Solo. She also wielded a purple lightsaber. So there you go. Now, the next color on our list is yellow. Yellow is a pretty interesting color. They're almost always associated with the Jedi Sentinels, and we can kind of interpret that as they typically like to hunt down the darkness, hunt down like anybody on the dark side in order to extinguish them to ensure peace in the galaxy, and are more practical in using both the Force, lightsaber capabilities, and just practical life skills in order to get their job done. Now, the main person we see using that is Rey Scott. I was about to say Rey Skywalker. I forgot her name's Rey Palpatine. My fault. Also, Asajj Ventress uses a yellow lightsaber, and so does Luke Skywalker for a time. He used a yellow lightsaber in between episodes 5 and 6 in the current canon comics. And now in Legends, one specific character also wields a yellow lightsaber, and that is Kyle Katarn. You know, the main protagonist of the Jedi Academy games, as well as the original man who got the Death Star in the Legends and EU canon. And in his case, he gets a yellow lightsaber when he purifies a synthetic red lightsaber and it turns yellow. Keep that in mind when we get to the next entry, the next third entry that I'm going to be mentioning. So, the next color we have is yellow-green. This is kind of a mix of the yellow and green colors. So, and there's of course no canon reason behind this color. So I'm gonna take like my own speculation into that, which is the fact that, hey, you want to hunt down the darkness, extinguish it for the galaxy, but you have a really strong connection to the Force as well. Now, the only known person that we see with the yellow-green lightsaber is Ahsoka Tano. Bada boom. Now, next up on our list is black. Now, this is a special case because there is literally only one black lightsaber in all of Star Wars existence, and that's the Darksaber. And as such, there's no explanation for why it's black in the first place, or why it has the special properties that it does. But if I wanted to give an explanation, it's the fact that you're obsessed with a particular goal and you'll do whatever it takes to achieve it. So the owners of this black lightsaber, the Darksaber, if you will, include Tar Vizsla, its creator, Pre Vizsla, his descendant, Darth Maul, Sabine Wren, Moff Gideon, Din Djarin, and then finally Bo-Katan before the Darksaber gets destroyed. So that's that. And then the white lightsabers. Now, remember what I said about Kyle Katarn with what happened with his yellow saber and how he got it? Well, this is the canon version of that instance. So whenever a Force user purifies a bleeding kyber crystal, that crystal is purified of the darkness and of its injuries and healed, and it glows white as a result. Now, the only known person to use a white lightsaber is, once again, Ahsoka Tano, and that is her current canon lightsaber color that she has to this day. Now, next up on our list is orange. Orange is very particular because, again, it also has no reason for it, for what it means, but many, especially in the EU canon, it means that you're looking for peaceful resolutions and you use fighting as a last resort. In current canon, we can speculate that orange means you're edging closer to the dark side, but you're not fully there yet. So, in current canon, the only users of the orange lightsaber is Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati from the Ahsoka series. But in Legends, it was used by Yaddle, which is funny because in current canon, her lightsaber is green, but they changed. But originally it was yellow, and then Freedon Nad. If you don't remember who that is a special Sith Lord from back in the old Republic days. Goated man, goated. But yes, and now we transition over to the next two entries, which are kind of similar, which is Cyan. Now, Cyan, in terms of its explanation, again, it has none, but I like to proclaim that it is a mix between blue and green. So you're pretty much you have like a semi-strong connection to Force, and you're also trying to balance that with the physical aspects of the Force. So you're trying to do both at the same time, and you get a Cyan blade. In current canon, the only canon user is Anath Estra, who's a bounty hunter sent to hunt after Cal Kestis in the Jedi Survivor games. Because in that game, a few bounty hunters actually get their own lightsabers, with each of them having a different color, which is kind of interesting. Now, the next color is Lights Blue, where, in my opinion, I feel like that's Cyan in terms of the explanation, but you're essentially more calm and you're more at ease than the other variations. So you're more calm than blue, you're more calm than Cyan, and the main user of this color is Terra Sinube. And I'm pretty sure I just butchered his name, but it's fine. Now, the next color is Indigo. Indigo is, the mix of blue and purple. And as such, I believe the explanation for that is that you're more in tune with the physical aspects of the Force, but you're trying to achieve balance between the light and the dark as well. And the only current canon user is Vix Phonics, who is a High Republic character who's in the current comics right now, and she has the only known canon user of an Indigo blade. Now, as I mentioned earlier, remember, Cal Kestis could use all of these colors, but his canon color is blue. And now the final color I want to talk about is Magenta. Magenta means that you're pretty much compassionate, and you typically want to let your emotions run wild and run free. In current canon, it's Cleland Cuds, again another bounty hunter sent to hunt after Cal Kestis. That's his color, or her. I don't know. That person doesn't have a voice, and I killed them pretty quickly. But the main person who you think of when you have a magenta lightsaber is none other than Mara Jade Skywalker, aka the wife of one Anakin. I mean, not Anakin, the wife of Luke Skywalker in Legends. Now, in terms of who or what color of lightsaber I would have, I would personally see my story is actually kind of interesting because I flip-flop between colors like no other. It's kind of crazy. So when I was younger, I'd always want a red lightsaber. You know me, I'm a menace to society, right? But as I grew older, I saw the prequels, I started liking the purple lightsaber. Probably because of the fact it was used by the only black Jedi, but that's neither here nor there. And then I realized, hey, Revan also used red and purple as well. Let's go! The true GOAT Sith / redeemed Jedi uses purple lightsaber. Let's go. Purple and red. That's my color combination. And then I joined Saber Guild. Now, as I joined Saber Guild, originally I wanted to differentiate myself, as I'm trying to make my own character and come into my own. I ended up getting inspired by Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I semi-modeled my costume after his with the brown and the orange. And as such, I wanted the lightsabers to be orange. However, at the time, they couldn't allow me to have an orange blade. So instead, I went with the next best color, yellow, and that became my canon color for my character for a while until I did this one event, and I had the yellow blade, but then I couldn't get the other one to turn yellow in time, but it was stuck as blue, and the color combination ended up working so well with the audiences that my character was canonly yellow and then a second blue saber. And I worked with that for a bit, but then I was like, the yellow and the blue, like, it won't work out in the long term because of the fact that I'm pretty much still modeling myself after somebody. So instead, again, wanting to branch off and be my own, I currently, and this is crazy because it's going full circle, I'm at indigo. So the mix between blue and purple. Why did I choose that specific color or that specific shade of dark blue / indigo, or the mix of blue and purple? I don't know. Probably because it looks cool and it's basically like a black light lightsaber. But that's currently my color, and that's the color I'm sticking with. And could it change in the future? Perhaps. I hope it doesn't, because I really do like the color scheme and color option of it, especially like in story, and like why my character ended up changing lightsabers so many times. I created a story reason for that, and my backstory being that my lightsabers get destroyed every time because I'm pouring too much energy into it before finding the true color that pretty much could match mine. But yeah, that's what I have. And as far as you all go, what is your lightsaber color? What is your canon color? Go ahead and let us know here today. And that's pretty much all I have. So let's go ahead and go into our plugs, and let's get on out of here. So for our Instagram, our X, formerly known as Twitter, and our Threads account, we are under Blurred City 22. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and stay up to date on release schedules and any sorts of announcements we have. We also have our Discord linked in said Instagram page, where you can join this fine community of degenerates and learn about various different memes and anything of the like. We also have ourselves our YouTube and our Patreon under Blurred City Pod. And if you're listening to this on any podcast platforms, if you want to donate a little bit extra cheddar on our Patreon page, you get access to very exclusive episodes not seen on the channel before and probably never will unless the situation happens again. So after that, we also have ourselves our email address, blurredcity22@gmail.com. That's where you can submit episode suggestions, random fan theories, geek out freakouts, questions for any mailbag episodes, and the like. And now finally, I am the Jedi Ronin on TikTok, however long we have TikTok left. And with my co-host, we have Mitri_Dash. That's where you can find him on Instagram. And then if you want to purchase his book, which is A Phantom Pains, A Most Irregular Tale, you may find that on Amazon and Kindle and all of that is good jazz. Now, we'll go ahead and end the episode off, and hopefully I'll let you all have a great night. So this isn't goodbye forever, it's just goodbye for now. That's the Blur City Podcast, and see ya later.